So today I am going to talk to you about why we end up in toxic relationships. Okay, so just want to say first of all, thank you so much for being here. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nazia Dad. I am a toxic relationship recovery coach, and I'm doing my lives every Mondays at the same time. So I hope you can join me every week. We have a different session. I'm open to ideas. For you guys to let me know what you want me to cover. So if you ever have something that you want to talk about, just let me know. But today's session is why we end up in toxic relationships. So today I want to do something different. Okay, I finally managed to get a bit of space that I call my little office now, so I'm really excited, and I've managed to get a desk, and luckily I've got some notes that I'm just going to refer back to every now and then, so I don't miss anything. So if you see me looking down every now and then, it'll just be so I make sure that I cover all of my notes that I want to cover today. Okay, I'm also going to just try something a little bit different. I'm going to see if I can jump into my live, if I can see my live as it's going on. No, that's not going to work. Just trying to jump into it, seeing if I can see who's watching, because I can see someone's watching, but I'm not sure who it is at the moment. So just want to say thank you for being here. And guys, if you are watching, give me a shout out, send me some love, let me know who you are, put your name in the comments so I can see who you are. And if you're watching on replay, please do put in hashtag replays. And if you've got any comments, I will come back to them later. Okay, so let's start then. Today's session is all about why we end up in toxic relationships. Okay, so there's 5 reasons that I want to give you why we end up in toxic relationships, and then just conclude it with what we can do to break that pattern so that we don't keep staying in the same routine basically, and we can do something different to build on where we want to get to. So the first one is the fear of being alone. Okay, and this is a very big one, because sometimes you might be in a toxic relationship, or you might meet someone where you know the relationship is unhealthy and you know it's toxic, but you just tend to want to stay in there because it's that feeling of, well, I'd rather be with someone and not be alone. And that fear of being alone can really consume us. It's like a dark cloud. It just kind of hovers over you, and you just feel that need to want to stay. So even though you know it's not healthy, even though you know it's not serving you, even though this person is being abusive, it could be mentally, physically, emotionally, but it's almost like, well, I'd rather stay here because it's familiar than go out into the world and be by myself, because I'm just going to be alone. But then you've just got to ask yourself that question. Is it safer, and is it going to bring you more happiness for you to be lonely but safe and happy, or in a relationship where you're going to be lonely and feel like you are literally alone? And being alone by yourself, obviously it's a process that you've got to go through, but you won't be able to allow yourself that process unless you get there. Hey George, thank you very much for the heart. I can see one person watching, and again, I'm not familiar with names, but if you send me some love, I'll know who you are because it will flash up on my screen. Okay, the second reason that we stay in, or we end up finding that we're in toxic relationships, because we are a people pleaser. For example, you might start a relationship and you might find that when you're in that relationship, what's happening is, from day one, you're just happy, you're settled, you're getting to know each other, and then that person just pushes the boundaries a little bit, and it could be something as subtle as, hey, do you know, I can't meet up today at a certain time. Can we postpone it to tomorrow instead? And this at the last minute, you're supposed to meet at 8, and they're just, you know, you're at the premises where you're going to meet, and they don't turn up, and you're like, yeah, that's fine, no problem, and that's it. And that's one thing that you've just done. You've kind of almost given your power away without even realizing it. And the next day comes, and then they push a little boundary and another little boundary, and what we do is we work around them. We literally maneuver our relationship in the direction that they want to go. So it's almost like they're steering the ship. So what happens is, it's very easy to fall into that pattern of just making that person happy. So what I'd like you to do is step back and think, what is this person giving to me? I'm running around them. I'm running hoops around this person. What is this person bringing to the relationship? How much are they giving back to me? And if you ask yourself that question and you don't feel like you've got the answer, then more than likely it's an unhealthy relationship. So just by being a people pleaser, it's so easy to give your power away. And I know I've talked about giving your power away in my previous lives as well, but it's just something that I just think is so important. We have to realize that without even knowing, just by pleasing others and putting their needs before our own needs, it's so easy just to fall into that pattern of that person abusing the situation, because it's almost like it's normality. Well, this is how it's always been. You've always, for example, Nazia, you've always been the one that's not decided where we're going to eat out tonight, or you've always been the one not to decide where we're going for vacation, or you've always let me make all the decisions, so why are you stepping up now? So just from day one, if we implement that boundary of, well, actually, if you're not going to meet me tonight at 7 and I'm already here, then I'm a bit busy for the next couple of days. And then you've got to decide, do you even want to meet that person because they're letting you down at this stage, unless there's a valid reason, like their house burnt down or they broke their leg or something, and they can have some evidence of that. Do you want to put yourself in that situation to fall in that relationship that eventually might become pushing boundaries and toxic? Okay. Reason number 3, and I just mentioned to anyone who's just watching now, hey George, I just mentioned to anyone who's just watching now that I will be looking down because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So I've got my notes today, so I'm just looking down at them. Okay. Sometimes we can go into relationships because they give us an opportunity. And it might be that you're in a toxic relationship, but the opportunity is, hey Blossom Marie, thank you for being here. It might just be that you're in that relationship because an opportunity means that that person might be able to progress your career, or you might have a business with that person, you're tied in with them, or you might have children with them, or whatever your reason might be. You stay in that relationship thinking, well, in time I will remove myself when I put myself in a better position. What tends to happen is, while you're waiting for that opportunity to happen and you're accepting toxic behavior from that person, it becomes so familiar that when you do leave that relationship, you carry that forward to your next relationship without even realizing. Your brain just assumes that when that person mistreats you, this is normal behavior because this is how my last relationship was. So just making that connection of unhealthy behavior and recognizing it and calling it out, rather than allowing it and staying in that situation, breaks that cycle. So just something to bear in mind, that when you think you might be looking for an opportunity by staying in that relationship, it could just be that that opportunity will be the reason that it actually brings you down into your next relationship. Okay. This is quite a big one that I tend to find, that a lot of people might be in denial, or they might not think, well, I don't think I really need to cover this area of my life. But usually that I tend to find when I speak to a lot of my clients is, your childhood plays a huge role in what you accept as an adult. So if in your childhood, for example, you were constantly seeking approval from your parents or from your caregiver or the people that looked after you, or you never felt loved or appreciated, or you just didn't feel that you were good enough, when you go into toxic relationships, the same patterns continue. So you're looking for that person to almost validate you, and you're looking for that approval from that person. And I know I spoke about this in my last week's live, where we were talking about codependency. Hey Ronnie, thanks for being here. Hey Maxine. So in my last week's live, I was talking about codependency, where we're looking for approval from that person in the relationship. As a child, when we are growing up and we don't have that approval from our parents and we don't have that validation from them, when we go into relationships, we're almost seeking that from our partners, and it's almost like we're giving our power away to them. So when we go into these relationships, we're waiting for this person to say, you know, hey, you're good enough, or hey, you know, this is what I'm going to give you to you. You're lovable, or you're worthy, or whatever the issue might be. So by looking for that external validation, it can easily turn to a toxic relationship, because that person can then withhold them feelings and not reciprocate them back to you, because they know that that's a power struggle. You know, by not withholding whatever they're withholding from you is making you want to crave it more, and it's also putting you in a situation that becomes very toxic. So issues as a childhood is something that I find really comes up, that people don't always want to address, but when you look at the patterns, it's then that we can break them, change them, and evolve. And I cover this so much in a program that I'm running at the moment. It's called 8 Weeks to Skyrocket Your Self-Confidence, and it's all about looking at the patterns as you grew up, what they were, changing them, challenging them. So when you might have thought, well, maybe I'm not good enough, in whose eyes was that judgment to make? Who was the person who was judging you? The person who probably you would run marathons and you still wouldn't be good enough in their eyes. So sometimes we've got to just break down the patterns and break down the cycles and realize what we need to do to move forward from them. So I cover this quite a lot in my program, and I tend to find that that's where the breakthroughs tend to happen, when you can realign yourself to the person that you need to become. The fifth reason why we stay in toxic relationships, or why we end up in toxic relationships, is the fear of the unknown and breaking the pattern. So when you, for example, met this person that you are in a relationship with, and you're thinking, why do I end up in toxic relationships? Why am I not breaking this pattern? Why do I find that I meet the same people again and again and again? I'm going to be honest with you. The issue does not lie in that person. The problem that we need to address is in you. There's something that you are bringing to that relationship that you need to change. And what that is the focus. It's almost like the focus isn't on the person. I want you to change the focus to you. What are you not putting on the table that is allowing these situations to kind of occur? And I'm going to break that down into 3 things, okay? Are you compromising on your boundaries? Are you not allowing yourself to set healthy boundaries in place from day one? And therefore that relationship can very easily become toxic. So if you went into a relationship and you see the red flags, are you overlooking them? Are you overlooking the warning signs? Is that person making you feel like you are not worthy, or you're not good enough, or they are withholding their feelings or their emotional needs? They're just not giving them back to you. Are they holding them back? Can you recognize that behavior, and are you allowing that to continue? So if you're doing that in all your relationships, what's happening is going back to power. You are giving your power away to that person. And by recognizing that that's a pattern that you've got to break, is a way for you to step forward to break the pattern of toxic relationships. Okay. Do you love yourself enough to know that you deserve better? Going back to, as a child, you might not have felt validated and approved, and you might be looking for approval in that person. When you start believing, and when you start knowing that you are enough as you are, and start loving yourself, and this is something again that I really work on in my program and in my coaching, and I'm so passionate about it. I think it all starts from within. When you realize that you are the one person who can be unconditionally there for you, who is going to be absolutely there in your good days and your bad days, who is never going to let you down. And when you put yourself first and decide that the only person you need to validate yourself is yourself, then you'll stop looking for that validation from other people. So when you go into toxic relationships, you'll start realizing very quickly, no, this person doesn't fit my criteria. And when they don't fit your criteria, it's easy to recognize that they are toxic, and then you can break that cycle. But the next thing is that I really want to talk about is, we all have a choice. The question is, do you want to, or not do you want to, are you brave enough to make that choice? Are you brave enough to decide that this relationship is not serving me, this is not healthy for me, this person is toxic? Am I more worthy of myself? Am I more deserving to say, no, I'm going to choose to walk away because this person is toxic in my life? And making that choice can just be an enormous weight on your shoulders. It almost feels too familiar. The relationship can feel so familiar because it's what you've always done, that you want to stay in that environment. It's when you break that cycle that you can start moving forward and making progress. And this is what I really am passionate about doing. And for those of you who know me, who might have followed me on, or who are following me on Facebook, or who watch my lives, or who are working with me, who are my clients, or who are part of the program, for those of you who know me, this is the core that I believe that we need to address. It's how you feel about yourself, and it's how you feel that you are deserving. Are you deserving of more? And it's getting you to that place where you feel that you are deserving of more. So, if you are in a toxic relationship, just going back to the question of when you're in a relationship, is it toxic? Why am I staying? You have that choice, but you've got to ask yourself, am I brave enough to leave and face the uncertainty? Because when you step into the uncertainty, when you take that step into the unknown, when you allow yourself to say, I am going to break this pattern, it's only then that you can allow change to happen. And that takes a lot of courage. But when you have that courage and you allow yourself to have that courage to break the cycle, that's when you can start making change. And that uncertainty is where you can start realigning yourself. Get some therapy, get some help, look at your friends, family for support. I know they can't always understand, and they can't always understand the depth of what a toxic relationship is and how much it can affect you. This is why I'm so passionate about reaching out to people that can support you on a professional level. If you're looking for someone to help you to break that pattern, I would love to work with you. Send me a message with the word me, and I will know to reach out to you, and we can look at ways of moving forward, of how I can support you to break that cycle and to uplift that person who's screaming inside saying, I deserve more, but I don't know how to break the cycle. And I'm here to tell you that you can break the cycle. It's just a case of knowing that, are you worthy of breaking that cycle? So I hope this information has been useful to you and you found that you could take something away from yourself. I'm just going to quickly look through my notes and just double check that I've not missed anything. Again, it's just going back to these emotional experiences that we go through of toxic relationships. Hey Lisa, these emotional relationships that we enter in and we follow the same patterns is because we don't recognize what we need to do to break them. And when you recognize that you need to set more healthy boundaries in place, but you don't know how to set them in place, that's when you can start breaking them cycles. Okay, so I'm just going to have a quick look at the notes now. I know someone's writing something. Blossom Marie saying, I'm changing my inner voice, how I allow myself to talk about myself, setting boundaries and standing by them even when it's difficult. Just give me a second, we'll look at more. I'm learning things are getting better slowly, but all at once. Thank you. That's right. When you start looking at your inner critic and you allow your inner critic to be kind to yourself, because we are our own worst enemy. When you allow that inner critic to say, hey, do you know what? Don't be so hard on yourself. You're okay. You are not this unworthy person that someone has at some point in your life made you feel, and you've carried that on into your next relationships and almost let these people take the power away from you. When you start telling yourself that I deserve more, like Blossom Marie has said, when I start allowing myself to know that I deserve better, that I am more worthy, then that inner critic starts silencing itself, and that voice no longer is, do you know, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve this. The next person does, but you don't. That inner critic instead starts thinking, hey, do you know what? You look amazing today. You look fantastic today. Look how good you are. Look what you've accomplished, you know. And it could be the smallest of the little things. Hey, Lisa, great to have you here. It could be the smallest of the littlest accomplishments, such as you might have done some gardening, you know, you might have just planted some seeds in the garden and watched them grow. I know one of the people that I connect with on Facebook has been creating a nest, and you know, the birds have been coming in and laying eggs, and it's like, wow, I'm following her story with her. I think it's amazing. And just these little achievements, you know, it could be that you're just going for a walk every day, and it could be that you just doing the smallest little things that make you smile, and that inner critic is now saying, do you know what, I feel better about myself. So just allowing yourself to make them breakthroughs is so rewarding, and it can change the way you see yourself and change the pattern. I'm just going to look at some more messages here. I've got one from Ronnie. Thank you for your insights. I'm learning to be kinder to me. I do deserve more. Absolutely, Ronnie. We all deserve more. And when we start telling ourselves that we deserve more, it's when we can start changing that pattern. And you've got to remember, your brain is almost like it's like a magnet. What you tell it. If you tell yourself on a daily basis, and this is why people are strong believers of positive affirmations, and I do believe in positive affirmations, but I think the groundwork needs to be done as well. When you start telling yourself that I am worthy, I am enough, and you start doing the background work internally and working to realign yourself to the person that you need to be, your brain naturally, it's like I'm getting all these hearts and all these love hearts at the moment, all these people, and I'm sending me messages and I can see them all, and it's lighting me up to know that you guys are with me with my message. The same way your brain will be with you getting that message, or you'll be on the same journey, because you'll be speaking the same language. And that's what you've got to change, your internal language. And that's what Blossom just mentioned, that's what Ronnie just mentioned. I can see another message. Sorry I'm late, but I'm here. Great to have you, Dina. Always love to have you here. I am so grateful for all you guys to be here. I can see all these names at the top, and I'm just so grateful for all you guys to be here. I'm so grateful that you are connecting to my message, because this is what I am passionate about. I am passionate about change. I am passionate about us women empowering ourselves, because it's almost like we live in a society where we have been grounded down to kind of put ourselves second, and it's time to step up and say, do you know what, we are badass women and we are here, and listen to us, you know, we are here to make some noise. So if you guys resonate with my message, let me know that you feel that. Make some noise, make some internal inside of you, allow yourself to realign yourself. And I would love to work with you. If you want some support with that, just text me the message and put in the word the word me, and I would love to work with you, to support you, to realign you to that badass woman that you can become. I know, because when I was in my toxic marriage, and I was literally a mouse, and now I feel like a lion. I feel like I'm the lioness of the jungle. Hear me roar. I mean, you can probably see that in my messages. And I want all you women out there, all you people, and I know there's so many men that go through the same thing, but it's only because I work with women that obviously I'm saying women, but I want all you women out there to become the badass women that I know that you can be, and I know that I can get you there. I know that we can have that transformation in you if that's what you're looking for. Someone's saying yes, it's Dina. Thank you, Dina. But it's a journey and it's a process, and it all begins when you start telling yourself and realigning yourself and letting yourself know that it's time to break the cycle. When you start becoming uncomfortable is when you're going to start growing. When you look at your relationship and all your relationships, all your patterns, and think, I have to make a change. I have to become uncomfortable. I have to step out my comfort zone. I have to do something different because what I'm doing is not working. That's where you will allow growth to happen. And I would love to be able to work with you. Again, I'm just going to mention my program that I'm running at the moment. It's called Skyrocket Your Self-Confidence in 8 weeks. And I have got people that are on there at the moment that are, the progress that they're making is just amazing. I've got someone who's just 3 weeks in and it's like a complete transformation. But on the same token, I know that I'm speaking to people who have, I know if I speak to them 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I spoke to them. I know that if I picked up the phone today and I called them, they would be in the exact same situation. So you've got to look at yourself sometimes and think, am I deserving? Do I deserve more? And I just want to let you guys know, hell yes, you deserve more. We all deserve more. Let's make that breakthrough. Let's make change. Let's make something happen. So I know I've gone on a little bit today. I know I do tend to waffle. I just want to say thank you guys for being here. Just before I leave, I just want to remind you guys that I am going to be creating a Facebook group that's going to be for women, about empowering yourself and kind of realigning yourself to your self-worth. I know some of you said that you already want to be in there. It is actually a group that I'm going to start promoting in the next week or so. So if it's something that you want to be part of, let me know. Have a look at my Facebook profile. I've got a message on there, a post on there that gives a bit more information. But watch this space and hopefully we can all grow and evolve together. And remember guys, I am here for you. If there's any questions that you want to ask me, if there's anything that you want me to go through, if there's anything you want to cover on next week's live, let me know. I'm just going to have a quick look at the messages again. Blossom, sadly I see where I passed my weaknesses off to my children. So I'm not only changing myself for me, but also to help them and break the future cycle for my children and future grandkids. Absolutely, Blossom. When I was in my toxic relationship, I knew that if I didn't break the cycle, that my children would grow up seeing me being beaten black and blue, to the point where they would think that's normal, and I had to break that cycle for my children. The same way, Blossom, that you were saying, it's for your generation, it's for your next generation, it's for the people that may have been there beforehand, and who the patterns that you may have followed in your, you might have seen it in your childhood. So you're breaking the cycle of that pattern that's been happening over generations, and you're not letting it continue. You're saying it's time to make a change. So well done, Blossom, for bringing that point up as well. Hey dear Sherry, thank you for being here. So I hope you guys felt that you got some value from today's live. If you did, let me know in the comments. I'm sorry if I've missed some comments or I've not said hello to you guys. You can always see me looking around thinking who's on, who's not, but I will come back once the live's over and address any questions that you might have and say hello to you guys. Hey Stephanie, thank you for being here, and I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for being here again, and I look forward to reconnecting with you guys soon. Have a great evening or a great day. I know I get people watching from all over the world, but just enjoy yourselves. Lockdown's easing a little bit in the UK. It's our first day of a little bit less lockdown, and I managed to go for a walk and go out for a little bit more shopping, and feeling great. So I hope that I can pass that positive energy on to you guys as well. Okay guys, take care, and I shall speak to you soon. Thank you very much for being here. Bye now.